So the Super Eagles of Nigeria have named their squad. Coach Austin Guavon has named his squad. A broader squad, as you may see in the final phase of the 2022 FIFA World Cup qualifier. Double header against the Black Stars of Ghana. And if you look at the squad, I mean, they have players from Spartak Rotterdam in the Netherlands, Momonia Nicosia in Cyprus, players from South Africa, West Ham, Leicester City, a lot of top class players coming in as compared to what the Black Stars are expected to name for the game. Today is the 12th of March. Precisely, we have 13 days to go for the all-important game, which is slated for the Cape Coast Stadium on the 25th of March. Ghana and Nigeria are basically rivals. I mean, one of the derbies on the African continent, if you want to look at it that way. It's going to be a top game. The excitement has been building. Nigeria have already requested for 10,000 tickets to a 15,000 capacity stadium. So I don't know what they are thinking already. I have with me here FAISAL, CHIBSAH, an established name in football administration and everything around football. FAISAL, Ghana, Nigeria. Some Ghanaians are of the opinion that if you look at the gap in terms of quality of players, you're looking at the Nigerian squad, you're going through players like Calvin Bassey, which the player that I personally admire, plays for Glasgow Rangers in Scotland. And they recently spoke to Ademola Lookman, the RB Leipzig player who is on loan at Leicester City. And they even have Union Berlin's Taiwo Awoniyi on standby, a player who has scored 12 goals plus in the Bundesliga this season on standby, as against the likes of Jordan Ayew, Benjamin Tete, Richmond Boachiwi that Ghana recently took the AFCON. Do you think that the difference in quality of players and where the players of these two countries are playing is going to play any role in this all-important game?
No, I don't really think so. I think the most important thing here for me would be every country is different. You know, you can define quality in different ways. You can define quality in possession, you can define quality out of possession, you can define quality in transition. I think the most important thing for me is knowing exactly how you want to play and the kind of profiles that you need to play that style and that philosophy. And then you would either develop or find those players. You can assemble a galaxy of stars that will not guarantee you results. That's just how football goes, you know. I think the most important thing is really finding the best way to connect those players and have them communicate both on and off the pitch. That for me, I think is where the difference lies. So yes, we've seen a lot of quality on Nigeria's squad. I think they've done their research and they've really done a beautiful job in terms of scouting overseas. I'm also under the impression that they know how exactly they want to play, and because of that, they have a profile of players defined that they've selected for these tournaments. And if that's the case, then I think they are on the right track. Now, for us in Ghana, I'm hoping we do the same. Obviously, we have a new technical team. Haven't had the chance to work with the players yet, so already we are facing a bit of difficulty there. But I'm hoping that O2 and his team have sat down, they've defined the philosophy first. I think it's very, very important. Beginning with the kind of culture they want to set as a team. Again, very, very important. Whenever you are dealing with people, there has to be a defined way of communication. You have to define a way of doing things. How we relate with each other, I think it's very important. And that for me is the culture. So that has to be set first. And then you can define how you want to play, how you want to play in all four phases of the game. You attack, you defend, and then you transition between the two. You have to define this properly on paper. And then it comes down to profile of players that you need to execute this playing style. I don't think any player can play for Pep Guardiola or Jurgen Klopp, again, because they have a defined set of players. And that's what I think we should be looking at. And once that side is defined, now we can look for the players out there that suit that profile, ready to play for that style for me. So until we get that done, then look, you can call out the best players out there in the world that can play for Ghana, but you still have to find a way to make sure they gel together, and that's where I think the problem is going to come from.
Okay, so talking about philosophy, we know Ochu is German trained, right? He's the interim head coach now. George Boateng, basically, he spent time in the Netherlands playing for them, but he's also been mostly from an English perspective. Same for the technical advisor, Chris Hilton. Do you think that the time space, is there not going to be clashes in terms of philosophy? Ochu having a German philosophical background, and then Chris and George Boateng from an English background. How are they going to be able to resolve this in this short space of time?
No, that's totally different. It would have to be unique to the Ghanaian player. It's not going to be a German philosophy. It's not going to be an English philosophy. It would have to be a philosophy that suits the Ghanaian player. So you have to understand what it takes for the Ghanaian player to play the game. Which areas are we good at? Are we good in possession? Are we technically gifted? Are we tactically astute? Okay, and then the physical side again, how much grounds can we cover? We have to look at what makes the Ghanaian player unique from the German player or the English player. If they come in with a German philosophy, I think they've already got it wrong.
Okay.
Same for England, it's wrong. Okay. You really have to understand what it takes for the Ghanaian player to play the game. That's where it starts from, and that's the culture.
This is a sort of one-off game. It's home and away, right? And the philosophy and the culture and everything we are discussing, do we think that we have that time to be able to resolve all these issues around it before we just go into it? Because between the first leg and the second leg is like basically like 3-4 days away, and now today as we speak, we have roughly 13 days to go. The Ghana squad is not out. Nigeria named their squad over a week ago, right? So you've spoken about the quality and the fact that it's not just the names, but teamwork, understanding players who are ready to play and all that. If you sit down and look at everything, you saw Nigeria in the AFCON. I'm sure you followed the Nigerian team for a long time. You saw Ghana also in the AFCON. You saw Ghana in the qualifiers, especially that controversy after Ghana won over South Africa here. If you are putting things into perspective and looking at the two teams, I know you're Ghanaian, right? So patriotism might have to come in. That being a fair assessment of everything, do you think that the Black Stars of Ghana stand a realistic chance against the Super Eagles? Because yes, Nigeria got booted out of the AFCON by Tunisia in very unexpected circumstances. Same for Ghana, though Comoros defeats, nobody expected that to happen. But from an independent position, how do you assess the chances of the Black Stars against the Super Eagles?
I think 100% I believe we have a chance. I really do believe so. And you mentioned the philosophy that, look, even if you throw that word out of the window, okay, and you take charge of the team tomorrow to play next weekend, you still have to find a way to bring these players together. Yeah. I don't think you're just going to go out there and say, you know what, I'm going to pick 10 players or 11 players, go out there and win the game. It's just not going to work. Yeah. You still have to find a way for these players to communicate on the pitch. They have to understand certain actions. That's the philosophy we're talking about. You know, so time frame wise, whether it's 2 weeks to the game or 3 months to the game, you still have to find a way for these players to communicate on the pitch. They have to understand what the key actions are. If a centre back has the ball and I'm a centre midfielder, I have to understand what he's trying to do and the role he plays. Whether he's looking to go long or play short or play into areas where we can attract pressure, you still have to define that. Yeah. I don't think any coach is going to go out there and say, you know what, okay, I'm going to pick 11 players from the world and put them on the pitch to go win. It's not going to work, right? So for me, the time frame doesn't matter. Whether it's tomorrow or next 5 weeks, you still have to find a way. So why not just find the proper way? And that's what I mentioned earlier on. A lot of the work would have to be done behind the scenes. And I'm assuming they've done that. So the moment they get assigned the job, the first, for me, thing they should have done is to define the culture, define their way of playing football, and there are different ways. There is no right or wrong. If they want to go long, that's fine. Find the players that suit that. If you want to play short and be a possession based, find the players that suit that. And that's the way of defining that philosophy. If you want to go long and then you pick players that are technical and want to play, you've lost the game already. If you want to play short and you find players that are big, physical, again, you've lost the game already, because clearly you're putting square pegs in round holes and it's not going to fit. Right? So I'm assuming they've done that. They've defined the profiles as to what our right back should look like. Should we be more attacking, or should we be more player that comes inside, like a Pep Guardiola right back, who wants to play in the half spaces, or who wants to bump on and give us overlaps? You have to, and that's the profile that I meant. You have to define all that, and then you go out there and look for the players that suit them. So that, I would say 50% of your job is done already. Before even the game starts, and then you got to find the best way to communicate this. And now in the modern ways of working, you don't have to wait for players to assemble before you start working. We use Zoom for tactical sessions. We use Zoom for technical sessions. We send videos of some behaviors that we want our players to exhibit on the pitch. And that's, for me, you've already started the work. And then once you assemble as a group, it's only a few things that you have to add, and then you'll be ready to go. So I'm hoping a lot of this has been done already, not now. If they're waiting to announce the squad before they begin working, then before they're lost. I'm just thinking, okay, the very moments they get the job, they did their homework, they define how they want to play. I don't care if it's long or short, just find something, and then pick the best players with a profile to execute that style, and that's football. That's how the game should be played for.
Well, so with all the things that you've spoken about, the game over 2 legs, who qualified? Ghana qualifies for Nigeria. Not based on patriotism, but based on scientific.
I don't think you can take that out. It's as easy as that. I don't think you can. I'll put that first, because I'm Ghanaian, and I want Ghana to go to the World Cup. And I think we deserve to be there. So if it's a different, set of countries, then I can look at, okay, here and there, but just purely as the priority. It has to be Ghana.
Okay, that's it. So the man FAISAL has done an extensive analysis of everything, of the situation and what Ghana needs to do, what Coach Otuado, George Boateng, Chris Hughton, Masudi Dudamani should do in order to get the results against the Super Eagles of Nigeria. In fact, he's made his choice. He said the Black Stars are going to be in Qatar 2022. And that's what Abigail is looking out for, because it's Qatar 22, road to Qatar. So thank you, catch you guys again.